What up? This is Rob from Machine Head. You're kicking it here listening to only the heaviest on the Warlock's domain. See ya.
Hey, what do you say out there in the Warlock's domain? This is Bobby Blitz from Overkill coming at you. Stay tuned, stay tuned.
right, this is Roman. We're on the Warlock's domain. We're with Bobby Blitz, the man from the voice behind Overkill. What's going on with the man with the voice?
Oh, just getting ready to do another show right now. We're on the road. The voice. The man with the voice. We just released a new record called The Killing Kind. And I guess you would say we're in support of it right now. Looking down the barrel of about 60 shows booked and booking another 30 on the back end. So it's going to be a busy year.
Band's been going through a lot of personnel changes since the days of Gustafsson and the others. What happened? Why all of a sudden? New drummer, new guitarist, what's going on?
We've only had one rule. If you don't want to be here, go away. I think it's really one of the reasons we've been able to stay around this long. I think the original lineup never would have endured this amount of time. And I base that on the fact that the new guys come in and they really kick everybody else in the butt and bring it up a level. So I also think that the fact that we've kept Overkill more important than who is in Overkill makes the band appear more credible by doing changes.
Yeah, but as far as credibility goes, you guys never sold out. You guys never tried to aim for a larger market than what your real fan base was. I mean, I can mention other bands. I could mention other bands which switched their singer or just changed their sound and totally sold out. You guys never did that. You tried to find musicians which stayed in what was your real realm. How did you do that?
Well, we never really wrote down a plan, but we've based the career of this band and the people in this band on doing what we like to do. This is what we like to do. Maybe it's all we can do, but we know that we do it well, and we know that it trips our trigger, it makes it happen for us. I mean, if people accept us on a wide scale, they will have accepted us on our own rules. We're not trying to chase the ass end of a trend all the time. So the point is, if we do have credibility, it's based on commitment.
So I know you guys are from the Northeast, but for some reason, clubs have been going down in the Northeast. L'Amour's went down. The Roxy's having problems. Do you guys see a space for yourself coming down the line 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Where are you going to play?
Yeah, we've never really looked into the future, and I think that's kind of to our credit, because if you take each moment and do the best you possibly can at that particular time, the future kind of takes care of itself. But as things change in this, whether it be clubs or whether bands go away, etc., as long as there's a want and a need for it, things pop up. I mean, you'll see a new club here, you'll see a new club there, because there's a need for it. If people want to see these shows, a promoter steps in and says, hey, I'll do the shows here, I'll do the shows there, I'll open up another type of L'Amour somewhere, I'll open up something in Jersey, I'll open up something else on Long Island. So you will see it happen.
All right. From a different perspective, what's up with the new record? How's your sound changes once in a while? Some records go this way, some records go that way. What's the deal with the new one?
I think, as things change for us, we always started in, I'd say we started with a small circle. And all we've ever tried to do is expand that circle, is make it bigger. So we're not looking to progress at leaps and bounds. I don't really think it's possible for us. I think it was a long term that was always going to be for us as far as our progression went and as far as what directions we went into. But really the only direction is a straight ahead type of a forcefulness with other things flavored around that. So the direction of this record, I mean, this one to me comes across as probably the record that shows the most elements of what we can do without compromising anything. And what I mean by that is that it shows the dark, dreary Overkill, the grinding type of an Overkill, the blistering speed, the emotional outpourings, the downside of life, the aggression. So it's a real good kind of a compilation of what this whole band is all about. Though everything changes, it's got elements of our past in it, and it's also got elements of where we're standing right now as far as the music world goes.
Well, the emotional outpouring type songs are something new. You started doing that with I Hear Black and went on from there. In the old days, never. Yeah. I mean, come on.
I really wouldn't say that, because in the old days there were songs like Skull Crusher, which was very... Yeah. Right. And there was Horoscope, and there was a song called The Years of Decay, and there was Drunken Wisdom from a record prior to that, yeah. Under the Influence, right? But I mean, these were slower, grindier songs. Maybe they'd end fast or something. But as far back as Under the Influence, that record, we've always been moving in into trying to incorporate other elements into this band without compromising our credibility. So the point is that maybe when we got to I Hear Black, it was overkill on the emotional type of thing. It was a much more reflective record than it was an aggressive record, and probably the hardest record for me to write, because it was the first time I ever wrote songs with Rob Canavino, ever wrote with Merrick Gann. I usually just write with Dee Dee. So that's why the record came out sounding different than everything prior to it. But since then, we're back to an original formula of writing, but didn't want to throw away what we had touched on that. So you hear songs like on the new record, like Burn You Down or The Cleansing, where it's not this blistering type of a thing, but the point is that it still has a very, very foot-in-your-face type of an impact. It's not a song that is lacking in the direction that it heads in. So this record, The Killing Kind, is a unidirectional record, but without compromising any of the aggression that we've had in the past.
So you've had 2 new records lately, The Killing Kind and 10 years of Overkill, the Greatest Hits Live album, both on a new label, CMC International. How have they been treating you?
Well, we've gone through 3 labels in our career. Megaforce, who we've actually outlasted, they're no longer. Atlantic, who knows, we may even outlast them.
With the way they're going now, you never know.
Well, that's the thing. We read the writing on the wall as far back as I Hear Black with Atlantic Records. And Atlantic, it's a major label. They're trend chasers, is basically what they are. And they're always coming in on the ass end of a trend. We knew that would only be a matter of time, and they were slowly choking the life out of us as far as promotion goes. I mean, we put a year of our life into it. It's not fair that they put 10 minutes of their time into it, promoting our record.
But you guys have never been big on big things. Is that because of them? I mean, I never see you guys doing Monsters of Rock or something like that.
We never get invited. Nobody likes us. We're like the bastard child or something. I don't know.
Is that the record label's fault, or is it your own way of trying to stay in touch with the core fans and not go to sell out?
I'm gonna say it's probably a combination of both. But the point is that with Atlantic, we were getting less attention paid to us. And sure, there has to be attention paid regardless of what we're doing, whether we remain committed to what we started doing or whether we change. In our case, we remain committed to what we started doing. Atlantic shows less and less promotion. Less records are out there. Less people know the record's out. Therefore, things will change for us as far as us being able to tour, us being able to sell records to the people who want our records. So, like I'm saying, as far back as '93, we understood that this was happening, and we started talking to independents. We scored the deal with CMC while we were touring WFO. Like on a handshake. If you can get off Atlantic, we'll take you. So we got off Atlantic.
Cool. How is it working with new guitarists? How do they affect the sound? I mean, 2 guys come into the band. That's a big change.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it affects the formula immediately. It mixes everything up. But the most positive thing out of it is that it kicks the guys in the ass who've been here for a while. Because you go, God, look at these guys coming in. They're so hungry. They're in here. They're just like, all they want to do is play and sweat and play and sweat and work. And it just sort of brings you back. It takes us a step back in our heads going, that's right, we got to get up to this level again. And I think it's real evident on this record, because I think this is a really brutal record. And that's what we needed at this particular time. We needed that Overkill type of brutality. And I can attribute that, naturally to the songwriting, but the way that feeling comes across is because of the new guitar players. And we were friends with these guys for like 6 years. There were no auditions. It was done over the phone. We lost the guitar players. You guys in? Yeah, we're in. What time you want us there? I said, next week. So it was real simple.
Play and sweat. Is there a lighter side to Bobby? You got a family? You want to tell us about him?
Oh, yeah. I have a 12-year-old son and a beautiful wife. A couple of dogs. Big old German shepherds.
You're not settling down, are you?
I don't think so. I mean, I've had my wife and my son for we've been together for like 9 years. So I mean, we're not really. I've done this my whole career. I've had this particular woman in my life. So it's not like it's just all of a sudden this big change or anything. He's a 12-year-old son. He's been around longer than the band has. So,
this is true.
I can't throw him out.
Do they support you? They go on tour with you?
Occasionally. Special shows my son comes to. For instance, he would be here tonight, but he's under the weather. Have him come and roadie for me. He keeps saying, hang in there, I want to go to Europe with you when I'm 15. Mom says I can go when I'm 15, so.
You guys got a big audience in Europe, right? Metal is like taking off over there. Here it's a different kind of thing, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it's taken off. I'd say that it remains constant. It's, you know, the U.S. audience, the majority of the record buying public is very fleeting. You know, what's hot on Monday is thrown out by Thursday. So it's bands become disposable. But I mean, the whole friggin' U.S. is disposable. You don't buy anything you really keep. I mean, even cars, you dispose of them in 5 or 6 years. You spend all this money on a car, you get rid of it. So everything's made to be disposable. It's the way we live. Europe always takes things from a very different perspective. If they like something, they always go back to that particular thing. Overkill just happens to be one of those things.
Cool. You guys got any upcoming shows? Anything you want to promote?
We got probably, like I said, 60 shows booked right now. Wow. So we're
U.S.?
Yeah, 60 U.S. So I mean, people keep telling me metal's dead. I think metal's just a dirty word. Nobody wants to say that it's alive, but in reality, I mean, getting 60 shows in this day and age, and we're getting another 30 booked on the back end of that. So we're looking at 90 or 100 shows in the U.S. We just did 30 over in Europe. We're going to do 5 in Japan, and then we'll probably come back and go back into Europe again in September. So we're going to work from now till September. So,
but your whole life is on a bus. How many times you toured the U.S. already?
Big old aluminum tube, right? How many times have I toured the U.S.? Well, we do it at least 2 times every record. So this will probably be my 20th U.S. tour. Wow. No, wait a second. 8 records, 8 studio records, 16th U.S. tour.
What's the difference in the fans from one coast to the other?
I like playing the East Coast because I'm an East Coast guy, born in the Bronx kind of a thing. I can understand the mentality here. I don't understand necessarily the mentality in all places. I like the aggression. I like the brutal honesty of the East Coast. It's just, people are brutally honest. They don't like the record. They go, I don't like the record. It sucks. You go, hey, that's okay. No big deal. On the West Coast, everybody's your buddy. Till you leave the room.
All right, excellent. Thanks for talking to us, Bobby. Anything else you'd like to say? Any shout-outs you'd like to give? Our audience is mostly on the East Coast.
I was going to say, I hope this is being played on the West Coast.
No, it's not.
Go for it.
It's not. We're mostly upstate New York. Thanks a lot for being with us.
Always.
And spending your time.
Okay, man.
All right. We're closing up on the Warlock's Domain with Bobby Blitz on the Overkill Tour.